as he plummeted from the top of the moss. But this would not be man's only attempt in the ancient world to conquer the skies. In 1617, the world's first known successful parachute test was carried out from a 4-story building in Venice, in Italy. The parachute was built by Croatian Faust Veranzio.
Hardly anybody's heard of it. And it's only now that this has come to light that, realistically, I think that he deserves a lot more credit.
Yet much mystery and intrigue surrounds this extraordinary milestone in man's quest to conquer the skies. Even though Veranzio left a clearly printed diagram of his parachute, he makes no reference to the materials that he used, or how they were attached to each other. This has led many researchers to doubt the claim that Veranzio was history's first parachutist. The search is on to understand how Veranzio could have succeeded where other ancient inventors had failed, such as the greatest Renaissance inventor and artist of them all, Leonardo da Vinci. In the 15th century, Leonardo imagined and sketched what is generally considered the first design for a parachute. But there is no evidence that Leonardo ever built or tested his parachute. It simply remains a design, confined to the pages of history. A century later, Veranzio set out his own design for a parachute, possibly influenced by Leonardo's sketch.
Whatever drove him to do it, possibly he might have seen somebody jumping from a burning building, which would have not been a very pleasant sight, and that might have inspired him because there would have been some sort of inspiration to develop this. So there must have been a need. He wouldn't have designed it and built it and jumped it just for the hell of it. I don't think. I think there would have been a need, and I think that his only experience of people coming from great heights would have been a bad one. So I think that it would have been with a lot of trepidation.
Using the illustration, leading skydiver Ray Armstrong and parachute rigger Alex Flint are attempting to recreate and test the Veranzio parachute.
One of the biggest challenges was the simplicity of the drawing and how small the drawing was that we had to work from, and trying to second guess how it would have been constructed. For example, we knew that he jumped it and that he survived, so therefore there were certain things that would have to be in place. The thing would have to remain in one piece by the time it hit the deck.
In the 17th century, Veranzio faced the challenge of finding lightweight but strong materials.
Based on the sketches that were available from Veranzio, we saw that it was essentially a wooden frame with a fabric covering. The bamboo, we decided to go with that because it's light and strong and would have certainly been available at the time.
For the fabric, the team has decided to use habutai, a type of silk that is lightweight and strong, and comparable to the silk that would have been available to Veranzio in the 17th century. But the parachutists need to use sensible and reasonable interpretation for what the design does not explain.
The problem that we have is if we were to lash it to it, which some people have interpreted that it was just almost sewn to the edge, then it would have point loading which would weaken the parachute, and potentially it would then start disintegrating during the descent. So a simple thing to do would be just to put a sleeve so that we've constructed it so that the poles can then just be fed up into it. So then it spreads the load all the way across the sides of the parachute, and the fabric then is just decelerating as the wooden frame is taking the brunt of it.
According to historical sources, Veranzio successfully landed his parachute from 4 stories, a height of around 200 feet. But if our experimenter is not as successful, he could be killed. The solution is to test the parachute at a much higher altitude, one at which our jumper will have time to open a reserve. The goal is to see if the chute lasts the 200 feet necessary to have landed Veranzio safely on the ground. The test day dawns. Veranzio's parachute has not braved the skies for 500 years. The team is at work, rigging it to the bottom of a hot air balloon. A balloon that will lift the parachute and Ray to 6,000 feet above the Earth and into the unknown.
There's certain variables that we categorically won't know. I'm an advanced parachute rigger, and I'm used to using modern technical textiles to produce the best result. Now, this has stretched my understanding of materials, and there is going to be things that we just we can't have taken into account, i.e. until you've suspended something below a balloon and it started moving, we don't know the stresses and strains that are going to be put onto it.
Ray's safety will be in the hands of Alex, who is responsible for rigging the parachute to the bottom of the balloon basket.
We haven't had any opportunity to test the equipment, the bamboo canes that form the structure of the parachute. It's a natural material. We know it's strong, but it's difficult to quantify its own strength because it is a natural material.
500 years ago, Veranzio had no idea if the parachute would break his fall or disintegrate and send him plunging to his death.
There are so many things that could fail. Hopefully we've covered everything.
The team's major concern is whether the silk and bamboo frame will stand up to the forces of drag.
The real test of this parachute is if we can drop and fall for 5 to 10 seconds with it staying intact, then it has been a success, because that would have been enough time to slow the descent down so that he would have survived.
A critical part for the team is the initial takeoff.
We have to get the balloon off the ground, get the parachute under the balloon, and then Ray under the parachute.
Before every jump, I do get a bit nervous.
The balloon takes 12 minutes to climb to 6,000 feet. If the parachute holds together for 10 seconds after its release, it means that Veranzio would have survived. The moment of truth has arrived for the team.
Ready? 3, 2, 1, go!
Despite the team's fears that the parachute would disintegrate after 10 seconds, it is still intact after descending for a minute. Now, can Ray safely land the Veranzio design? Then Ray hits a problem. The wind is blowing him away from the drop zone toward a housing development. The parachute is at the mercy of the elements. For his own safety and that of the people on the ground, Ray has no choice but to hit the release and deploy his reserve chute.
That was fantastic, absolutely fantastic. It was far more successful than I could ever imagine it was going to be. I was expecting a descent rate of 50 feet per second, and it was descending at about 22, 26, which is a very, very, very survivable rate of descent.
A descent rate of 22 feet per second is comparable to the modern parachutes that are used by today's skydivers and base jumpers. Like Veranzio's parachute, they are shaped more like airplane wings than the traditional round type.
I was even hauling on some of the ropes to try and distort it, to put some input to steer it, and I did actually get some input and started to move it around, which I categorically wasn't expecting.
Veranzio's design acted like an airfoil during its flight. Not only did it create drag, it also created lift.
I was even expecting it to start falling apart in the air, but it didn't. So it had 2 minutes of descent, and it was actually, I've jumped more modern parachutes, round parachutes that weren't as stable. It was a very, very stable platform with a very good rate of descent. It was excellent.
Ancient discoveries have shown that throughout history, military commanders have coveted the destructive power of airborne weaponry. Hundreds of years before modern planes, rockets, and paratroopers, ancient engineers strived to take warfare into the air. Kites, rockets, arrows, and that most awesome invention, the parachute. In doing so, they laid the foundations for the technologies that enabled man to conquer the skies today. Machines designed to deliver the shock of airborne assault. Throughout the East, there are legends of martial artists who can explode the body's organs with a single touch. Myths of weapons far more lethal than anything produced in the West. But truth is nearly as astounding as fiction. Underwater assassination techniques still used by today's special forces. Weapons that deliver fatal strikes in the blink of an eye. Triple-bladed weaponry that maimed thousands on the battlefields. Prototype poison machines. Evidence of fighters who can even cause delayed death. Ancient Discoveries is uncovering the secrets of thousands of years of weapons development to reveal the technologies behind antiquity's most lethal killing machines. This is the untold story of the death weapons of the East. The 12-gauge pump-action shotgun